This is the Bonus Section Podcast, episode number 47. Beware of noisy pirates. Are you the type of person that knows you were meant for something greater in this lifetime, and that somewhere inside of you, there's just this bigger version trying to break free, but in spite of all your self-development attempts, you just can't seem to find the way up? Well, then, hey, you are definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Bonus Section and the host of this podcast, and a person just like you, trying to learn how to live the most fulfilling life possible. Now, to help you take immediate action to get moving in a better direction, we take all the notes from each of these podcasts and we post them for a short period of time so you don't have too much to think about over there at freethinkingtools.com. That's freethinkingtools.com. Get over there and you get your notes, sit down, cup of coffee, think onto that piece of paper and start planning out your life so that you get what you want and you can feel fulfilled. All right, beware of the noisy pirates. All right, let's talk about this. What is this subject all about? Well, the first point here that I wrote down I wanted to talk about is, for years, I was raised to have a good heart. That's just the way that I was. Everything was about charities, and I can remember as a kid, we were going and we were serving the elderly their Thanksgiving dinner, and we were talking about kids that needed clothing, and this is just the way I was raised. And my parents sponsored immigrants that lived next door to us. They were getting tortured by all the neighbors. This is the way it was. My family raised me to be a good-hearted person. So when you have that perspective in life, that's the lens through which you see the world. You assume, well, not that I was naive. Like I said, we saw plenty. I grew up in the city of Boston during some tough years with racial integration, and it was a messy place at certain points in time. But I still presumed that beneath all of that noise, there was good-heartedness. And that I assumed that the majority of people were wired that way, that maybe they were just a little bit angry and they were a little broken and they were a little undereducated, but they were good-hearted. Well, it turns out that that's not so true. Over the years, especially in business, I have done business with people that I made that presumption about, and they weren't even close to good-hearted. Not even close. And it's almost this depressing moment that hits you where you recognize, and that was the second point here, that all that glitters is not gold. And so let me talk about this in terms of success. A lot of you listening to this in the Bonus Section podcast are trying to figure out how to be successful. And for all of us, there are a lot of areas and arenas within which we want to be successful. For me, I want to be a successful family man. I want to be a successful business person. I want to be a successful person for others. And so you look out there for models and examples, and you see a lot of glitter. What do I mean? You see a lot of people being held up on a pedestal, and you see people financially successful in business. You see people that are presumably great family people, and you see even great athletes, whatever it might be, and it glitters. And your presumption is that's gold. Those people are amazing. They're talented. They're this, they're that. And we give them we give them way too much credit. Because you see, they really are, to a certain extent, just human. I was going to say just like that, just like us, but I'm about to tell you that not everybody's just like you, just like me. Everybody's very different, and this is about the pirates, right? Because they're out there, and they're alive and well. They're not just a figure of the past sailing in ships. Now they're melded in amongst us. They're in all organizations around us. They're everywhere. And this isn't a conspiracy theory conversation. This is a reality check about bad people. And they want to not be a person for others. It is a take, no give. And so don't be confused, or at least don't stop asking about the true nature of the person that's being held up on the pedestal in front of you. That's the point. That every time you see a trophy being given, an award, or somebody, gets onto TV, and you make this presumption about them as if they're great, and some of them really are. Some of them you get their backstory and you find out it's long and it's arduous and it's amazing. I mean, there are some amazing heroes that have overcome. In fact, many people, and that's why we love the story of the person who overcame, because they really are that person who had that good heart, who kept going in spite of everything. That's the story we love, but don't cast that upon everybody. There are people that take amazingly quick shortcuts. And if something doesn't feel right, it's typically not. So for me, I know the moments and times where I have come in close proximity to pirates. I think I just was selling myself about it's the law of corroboration, by the way. You look at what you want to believe you see, and you only look for evidence that corroborates your belief system. That law, I learned that in Robert Cialdini's book, Influence. That law is extremely powerful. And it's something that we should become aware of because our animal brain only has so much capacity. So if we start thinking about too many things, it shuts down. And now we only start to look for a way to survive. And we do that based on these presumptions we make on how we will survive. And we only look for corroborating evidence. That's why so many of us fail at things. We make huge, egregious mistakes. We lose money. We lose businesses. We lose relationships. We get had, as the saying goes. We get taken by the pirates. And oftentimes, the pirate can be you. You end up being the worst pirate in the room because you just only looked at what you believed to be true and not what really was. So, you see, inherent in that last statement there is our own weakness. We're loaded with them. We're loaded with human weakness. We're not perfect. And so this journey of life is about this evolution. That's why I do the bonus section. I try to learn myself here each week. These are things I think about, trying to evolve and become more aware so that I can become more powerful in that knowledge. And I can navigate all of these rocks and I can avoid the pirates and I can get to the people that really need help and I can win, right? That's just what came to mind. I can win. That's the game of life. I want to win, and I want to win the right way. I don't want to cheat. So when you have those weaknesses, the competition and the really malevolent competition, the pirates, they can see it. In fact, I'll make an argument that's their specialty. See, I might help you and I might train myself to see the best in people, to see the good heart, to hope for the good heart, to just believe beyond any kind of a capacity that, oh, this person's got to have a shred of decency inside them. And maybe that's true. Maybe it's true. But that can also border on a weakness as it turns into naivete. As we open ourselves and make ourselves vulnerable to everybody and anybody. And I know some of you might have a real higher calling, say, that's fine. What are they going to really take? As long as they don't take my life, let them take it. If they need it, maybe they needed it. You might be that person listening to this, and I appreciate where you're coming from. I'm not that. I'm a realist. I'm a pragmatist. I just believe that in this world, you have to fight back against the pirates or at least protect yourself. And fighting back starts with protecting yourself. And that means be aware of your weaknesses. If you have a tendency to talk too much in a public setting, in a business setting, because you believe that, that's beneficial to everybody around you, you might be letting somebody know how vulnerable and how easy a mark you are, as the saying goes. Okay. Lots of sayings here today, because easy mark is definitely what pirates look for. They look for your weaknesses. I see it in business all the time. I see people that own assets and they have no idea the value of that asset. And in comes the pirate and pirates the equity, only to steal it all or to set up a game that is in place. By the way, this happened to me and we figured it out. But I know there are a lot of people that don't. And these people just get better and better and better at preying on these weaknesses. In fact, pirates have a system too. Think about pirates in a ship, a small pirate ship, and these people are trying to rob these well-armed boats that are coming back and forth through the continents with gold back in the day and merchandise. and they have to sneak up in this modern day piracy that goes on. Massive ships get attacked by these little boats. How do they do it? Well, these pirates develop a system. They know how to crack the weaknesses in even the big fortified ship or whatever it might be. So they're good at this. And your weaknesses are obvious to them. So it's important to keep working and looking for your weaknesses. And that's my final point here. Your best self-defense is to really work on the weaknesses in your self-image. Your best self-defense is a strong self-image. And I think that's really the lens through which we see the world. And I learned this from Maxwell Maltz's book, Psycho-Cybernetics, and there's an edited version called The New Psycho-Cybernetics. It really speaks to the self-image as the way that we see the world. So if we feel weak, we feel dumb, uneducated, vulnerable, and we keep putting everybody else up on a pedestal, and we stop asking ourselves, well, why not me? Why can't I learn that? Elon Musk says this too. He says, you want to learn something, pick up enough books and read them. Reading. Sit still and read a book. You don't know how to read yet? That would be the number one thing I could recommend to anybody. Go take a class on reading. I don't care if you're older and you never learned how to read, you're young and you're not doing it well enough, you're in high school, learn how to read. Read, read, read. Because after a while, after enough reading, you can find out the universal truth to something and you can be empowered. And when you're empowered, you look in the mirror and you feel stronger. And if somebody says something that feels off, you know you can go read about it. You don't have to take their word. You can take a beat and you can read. So education is extremely important. I am so sick and tired of all these gurus out there. Oh, you don't need to go to this school. You need to learn how to become a lifelong learner, because it's that lifelong learning. The ability to constantly reinvent yourself through learning is critical. As you get older and you can't do what you used to do, learn about new ways to live. Read, study. Very important. Because as you do that, you feel less and less vulnerable. And you can begin to decipher where true help is. And you don't fall for all this nonsense that these pirates have. Not to knock Wall Street. I started working there as a young guy, but my gosh, so many people just blindly take their hard-earned money and they blindly give it to money managers who they have no idea whether those people are good-hearted people or true pirates, and they just blindly give it away and say, well, I don't know what to do with them. It's not rocket science. Pick up a book about investing. Pick up a book about anything and learn how it really works, and you will become empowered, okay? So let me go back through this and hit these points here. Beware of noisy pirates. Let me just express for a second, noisy is part of a pirate's persona. Think about, your image. I mean, you can think of Disney when you're walking through, going through the ride with all the pirates. It's noisy in there. They're firing guns. They're yelling. They're making noise. You know why? They want to discombobulate you. They want to confuse you. They want to throw you off, because that's when you feel scared. And when you feel scared, you awaken weaknesses, and then they accelerate, and then they get you right where they want you. I can help you, matey. Right? As they pick your pockets, as they steal your dreams. Don't let these noisy pirates get to you. And it starts with these 4 points. Just remembering that not all people are good-hearted like you. They're not. Number 2, all that glitters is not gold, meaning everything that's shiny is not a true good-hearted hero. There are some bad guys and some bad gals that get to the top. Don't be confused. Your weakness is obvious to a pirate. So be careful. Stop wearing your heart on your sleeve and babbling all of your top secrets to anybody that you haven't already determined might or might not be a pirate. And lastly, the best self-defense is a strong self-image. So work on feeling empowered by feeding your brain as much education about what you need to know about whatever arena you live in, work in, play in. Learn. Because that empowers you. And when you're empowered, your lens is stronger. You're less vulnerable. You're less reliant on the world. You're self-reliant to a large extent, and you can make better choices. All right, let me summarize it this way. Too often, we believe that somewhere deep inside that all people have a kind heart, and that's just not true. There are many people that are simply wired to be pirates. They're very good at recognizing weaknesses and taking advantage of people for their own gain. So the key is to work hard at building up a strong self-image in order to trust your instincts better, because pirates will actually steer clear of the strong. All right. Remember, you can take immediate action to get moving in a better direction because we take all the notes from each episode and we post them up at freethinkingtools.com. That's freethinkingtools.com. So you can sit down, think onto a piece of paper. That's what I love. Get out of your head, through your arm, take a pencil, and write down some thoughts, okay? Also, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. We're on iTunes, Spotify, or really a lot of spots where you listen. And you can find us also on our social media channels. Just look for the bonus section and you won't miss out on the episodes. We also appreciate it if you would join our mission. This is a mission here at the bonus section of becoming people for others and share our content with those people so that they get some help that they might need too. Now, remember this, I say it all the time. Nobody's coming for you. Nobody. And the pirates are after you. So remember, go get to work on a plan for yourself and your life. And I will see you in the next episode to help you do just that.